The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. This is the testimony of John. When the Jews from Jerusalem sent priests and Levites to him to ask him, "Who are you?" he admitted and did not deny it, but admitted, "I am not the Christ." So they asked him, "What are you then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" He answered, "No." So they asked him, "Who are you?" So we can give an answer to those who sent us. What do you have to say for yourself? He said, "I am the voice of the one crying out in the desert, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as Isaiah the prophet said." Some Pharisees were also sent. They asked him, "Why then do you baptize if you are not the Christ or Elijah or the prophet?" John answered them, "I baptize with water, but there is one among you whom you do not recognize, the one who is coming after me, whose sandal strap I am not worthy to untie." This happened in Bethany across the Jordan, where John was baptizing. The Gospel of the Lord. A philosopher who was preoccupied with the answer to that metaphysical question, "Who am I?" was walking through the crowds in a marketplace when he accidentally bumped into a young man. And the young man immediately flared up, snarled at the philosopher and said, "Who are you? Who do you think you are?" And the philosopher, still confused and in a pensive mood, was heard saying, "I wish I knew." My dear sisters and brothers, the question that was posed today to John the Baptist is posed to you and to me. Who are you? What have you to say for yourself? And so the question that comes your way today is, who am I? Who are you? How would you define yourself? We often end up giving people our name, or sometimes we tell them what we do. I'm a teacher, a professor, or an engineer, or a nurse. Or others give our function or role in a family. I'm a father, a grandfather, a brother, or whatever. But then, in order to find the real answer to this question, one needs to go outside of one's autobiography. What do I mean? This very same question was posed to Paul. And Paul, writing to the Galatians in chapter 2, verse 20, would say, "It's no longer I that live, but Christ that lives in me." His identity flowed from his relationship with Christ. He grew in intimacy with Christ until the relationship with Christ was able to define who Paul was. The same thing happens also to John the Baptist in the Gospel of the day. He says, "I'm the voice of the one crying out in the wilderness, 'Prepare the way of the Lord.'" John the Baptist always saw himself in relationship with the promised one, the Messiah, the Christ of God. Our destiny is to grow into a relationship with Christ so that eventually our identity flows from our intimacy with Christ. And so I ask you, do you spend time with Jesus? Can you, as a real parishioner of St. John Vianney, say, I know and love Christ and follow him in compassionate service? Our whole life is but an opportunity to draw closer to Christ, to grow into Christ, and allow our relationship, our intimacy with Christ to describe us, to define us. And so, in this sense, I ask you, do you know who you are in your relationship with Christ?